Hey everybody, Movie Review Next Door here, and I'm back with another review. And kind of just decided to watch something out of the blue, so I saw Sentinelle. It's a 2021 action thriller directed by Julian Leclerc, and it stars Olga Kurylenko, uh, yeah, Olga Kurylenko, only a real person of note that I can mention here. But in this film, transferred home after a traumatizing combat mission, a highly trained French soldier uses her lethal skills to hunt down the man who hurt her sister. About as simple as you can get. So, what did I think of Sentinelle? Well, I found it to be half decent, but mostly due to some pretty decent action sequences, a pretty good pace, and Olga Kurylenko herself. And uh, in order to elaborate on that, I'm gonna just say right now, Olga Kurylenko is really good in this film. I've always liked Olga. I've always found her to be a pretty good actress. She, I liked her in Quantum of Solace. I think she's an underrated Bond girl. For the little bit she's in it, she's good in Seven Psychopaths. Um, the Hitman movie, Max Payne. Um, November Man, she was the best part of that movie. She was better than Pierce Brosnan even. Uh, The Courier, Momentum, High Heat was a fun one. Assassin Next Door, which I reviewed recently. She is kind of an underlooked actress, I think, and I wish that and I did see that she was in a Jesse B. Johnson action film. So I definitely want to give that a chance. I definitely want to watch that. Um, But yeah, she is a lot of the glue that holds this film together because overall it's kind of a forgettable revenge film that really doesn't do anything different in the genre at all. And yeah, a revenge film that doesn't do much different can still work if you deliver with the action or with characters that you love to hate or just in general with how it feels when the revenge is taken. And with this film, I think it's the reason it doesn't fully click for me, which I still thought was decent, so I guess watch it and make up your own mind, because this is kind of a hard one. Um, the, it doesn't 100% work or something. First issue, which is both a blessing and a curse, it is 80 minutes. 75 minutes without the credits. An hour and 15 minutes without the credits. That is an insanely short film, and it still takes a bit to get going. Now, while I said the pace is good, I think the pace is good, but it almost makes this feel like an episode of a TV show because not a ton happens in it. There's an okay amount of action scenes. There's a fight in a bathroom. There's the ending small bits of shooting, which I was like, I saw the bit where she's like, grab me two Glocks with ammo and two FAMAS, which these big guns, I don't exactly know what type they are, but I've seen them before. And she barely uses the FAMAS, barely the Glocks too, and I mean it's not an action. It doesn't really feel like an action movie. It's listed as action thriller. It's not really focusing on the action, and I think Julian Leclerc, this director, maybe I need to watch another one of his movies that's like better edited because this one's editing left a bit to be desired because there are certain shots where I can clearly tell that certain hits are not landing, and it kind of reminded me of Lesson Plan, that other Netflix, this is also a Netflix film, that Netflix action movie that was basically just, oh, The Substitute, but worse. Because I actually love The Substitute. If you want a good action movie with a lot of substance and actually a pretty meaningful fucking message, go watch The Substitute with Tom Berenger and Ernie Hudson right now. It's a really damn good movie. But this director, he did The Bouncer with Van Damme, which I haven't seen. He did The Crew, The Assault. I haven't seen any of the other films. Apparently, The Bouncer is pretty alright. Maybe I'll watch it at some point. But this film, again, some of the action scenes feel a bit off. Some of them feel like the punches and kicks and hits don't really land as well as they should. And there's a certain shot where Olga is like, I believe that Olga is doing these action scenes. I believe her beating these guys up because I think she, while looking kind of modelly at times, fits in a role like this. She has something about her, like this kind of, I don't know, there's something in her face that really, I can see that she works in this role and works in other action type roles. And, sorry, there's a bit where she's like hitting a guy in the face with her elbow, and I was like, that doesn't look that good. And then they slow it down, and then I'm like, why the fuck is that slowed down? That's like the worst shot you could have slowed down. But this happens earlier in the film when an explosion takes place, and it's actually the moment that's kind of undercut by a hard cut. I think the editing is a bit of an issue in this film. Um, it sorry. It's a bit distracting in certain parts, especially during some of the action scenes. I will say the highlight for the action for me would have to be the fight between her and this orderly, and that's all I'm gonna say because that would be giving certain things away. Which is kind of that's the thing about this movie. It's kind of hard to give things away because it plays out like most movies do, and the thing is, I think another issue with this film, again, the length, 75 minutes without the credits. This needed at least like 15, maybe 20 more minutes to like actually get the story to feel a bit more coherent, not coherent, but a bit more meaningful because yes, I got to know the main character, but it was also kind of surface level. There's a lot of people reviewing this saying that she's like a multi-layered character. She kind of isn't. She's a pill popper who's stoned on the job after a big thing in her life, and it it, it is kind of generic her backstory, and I I don't know, just something is missing with this film. It's it's not that the action is like terrible or anything. It's again, it makes up for some of the quick cuts and the kind of wonky editing with how brutal a couple of them are. The fight against her and the orderly is pretty good, I think. The fight in the bathroom is probably the second. The ending bit was disappointing though. Um, here's the thing. This villain is very mustache twirly and it just really didn't work for that. This film is trying to be like super ultra serious, yet the villain is like very just like, ooh, I loved raping your sister, and it's like, really? It reminded me of when Afton showed up in the FNAF movie where he's like, I killed your brother, now I'm gonna kill you. That's symmetry. And it kind of took me out of it. And also the guy's not that imposing looking. It's not good casting. Just kind of comes up over halfway through the movie, and then we're supposed to be like, oh yeah, he's the one who raped her. and it just feels not tacky, but it just feels forced. He doesn't feel like a villain. If he feels like pantomime. Um, Also, something else I should mention. This is a French movie. I did watch it in French with English subtitles. I usually, when it comes to live action movies, I usually will watch in the original language. And when it comes to anime, I prefer to watch it in English because you can match the lip flaps a lot better in English. And people shit on dubs all the time. I don't think they're that bad as they say. But with this movie, at times, it looked like the actors were dubbed. Now, Olga Kurylenko, I know that she can speak French. I think she's Russian Ukrainian or Israeli Ukrainian. She's something. She's a weird mixture. Let me see. Born in Ukraine. Okay, I guess she's Ukrainian. But there's multiple points where she speaks Arabic, I think. And I don't know, something about it seemed off, like the lip flaps didn't seem to match the audio, and I was like, wait, I thought this was in, I thought this was in French, and that it was the actor speaking French because it said original language French on Netflix. But, yeah, the, that's not even the main issue. I don't know, just something about this film seems off. Even though I didn't mind it, I'll never watch it again. Uh, like that other film that Olga Kurylenko was in, The Courier, I could watch that again, even though it wasn't anything special either, but the villain was fun. The villains, even though one of them was very overacting, it was kind of like so bad in a so bad's good way, and it, I don't know, something about that was a bit more fun than this. And something about this film taking itself so ultra serious, which is fine. I'm fine with a revenge movie taking itself surprisingly serious or super serious. And I'm also okay with how something like the Death Wish remake did it, where yes, it's serious in the parts it needs to be, but it also lets up at certain parts and actually allows the audience to breathe, which is what a lot of films need. This film has teeny moments at small parts, but I do think it wanted the villain to be this pantomime thing. First off, they should have toned it down a tiny bit, and second off, I mean, recast this guy and then add some small bits of humor. But yeah, there's not really all that much for me to say about this. Again, Olga Kurylenko is the reason to watch this. It's not for the well-written story because it's not really all that well written, and it's not for the fantastic action scenes. There's like a couple. The first the first two action scenes I'd say are like the ones to well, the first and third because I think the one at the houses before the one in the hospital and the one in the bathroom are the best action scenes, I think. And the ending is a bit of a letdown. Um, but yeah, it if you want to watch it, watch it. If it's not that long, it's again 75 minutes without credits, breezy watch, and doesn't take up a bunch of your time. But yeah, otherwise, I'd say look into better Olga Kurylenko action films. There's Momentum, which I think is still on Prime, or it's definitely on Tubi, I think. The Courier was pretty decent. Um, November Man, I'll have to give another chance, but I remembered not liking it. I remember thinking her subplot was the most interesting. Um, Hitman, even though she's not the main character in that, I thought that was a really really fun movie. Um, High Heat is possibly the best thing that I've seen her star in as the main. hero. But yeah, other than that, there's not much to say about this. It's all right. It's an all right movie with a great performance that bumps it up to decent. There you go. That was my review for the film Sentinelle. If you've seen the film, let me know what you thought. If you have any recommendations of what I should watch, put them in the script in the comments. And movie reviewer next door out.